For this next piece, we want to look at the concept of dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis is the name that we give to our ability to convert different units using a method that we'll commonly refer to as the factor label method. In most cases with dimensional analysis, what we're dealing with is these unit conversions. We're doing a very specific method. Now, in many of these cases, you can do these unit conversions using the King-Henry method that you learned in middle school. However, I want you to get used to using this factor label method and use this on tests and quizzes because it's going to be a very important method for us throughout the rest of the course. And if we can learn how to do this method on problems that aren't that out of your comfort zone, we can then put it into use when we get to moles and other concepts later in the semester where we'll be dealing with things that are new to you and you won't have to learn a new method at that point. When we work problems, we want to convert from one unit to the other, sometimes with powers of 10, but sometimes using even other units like 60 seconds in a minute or 365 days in a year or any other conversion factor we want to come up with. So let's suppose we're looking at the following idea. You wanted to bring enough Krispy Kreme donuts to school for everyone in the 10th grade, and there are 252 students in the 10th grade at Woodward this year. Krispy Kreme will only sell the donuts by the box, and there are a dozen donuts in each box. We're trying to account for three things every time we're doing a dimensional analysis problem. What are we trying to find? What do we know? And how are we going to convert from one to the other? So what we're trying to find in this case is the number of boxes of donuts we need to buy. What we need to know, how many total donuts we need, and what we want to convert, one box is equal to 12 donuts. So if you look at this way of doing it up here, you'll notice the way we could put this together. The starting information for us in this case is the 252 donuts that you see here. 252 donuts. So always write out first your starting information. Then you're going to use a conversion factor. The two parts of the conversion factor have to be equal to one another. This makes mathematical sense because dividing two things that are equal to one another is the same thing as gives us the number 1. So if you divide two things that are the same, you get the number 1. So multiplying anything by 1 is mathematically appropriate. So we can convert the units without actually changing the correct answer. So in this case, we're trying to get rid of the units of donuts. So when we deal with the units of donuts, this is the unit we're trying to cancel. So the unit we're trying to cancel has to go on the bottom. The unit we're trying to find needs to go on the top. So put the unit you want to cancel on the bottom, the unit you want to find on the top, put the numbers in that make those two units equal, multiply by the things on top, divide by the things on the bottom, and we get 21 boxes of donuts. The question mark is what we're trying to find. So we're trying to find the number of boxes. So our answer should be in that same set of units, how many boxes. Part in red is our conversion factor, two things that are equal to each other that we make a ratio with. We're not changing the amount of donuts. We're starting with the 252. We want to know how many boxes of donuts as our final answer. So let's look at a couple of examples today. If today were your birthday and you were turning 16 years old, how old would you be in seconds? So our information we're trying to solve for is how many seconds. Our starting piece of information is 16 years. Now, the first thing we're going to do is try to convert that using a conversion factor. In this case, I think it's easiest to write the units out first. So I can cancel years. Years goes on the bottom. I can turn years into days. 1 year is 365 days. Once I'm at days, I can now convert that into hours. 1 day, 24 hours. So now I wanted to cancel days, so days goes on the bottom. I wanted to find hours, so hours goes on the top. We're still trying to get to seconds, so we still got some ways to go. I can cancel hours and get 2 minutes. 1 hour, 60 minutes. And finally, I can get rid of minutes and convert to seconds. 1 minute is 60 seconds. So in this case, I have 4 conversion factors. I can check years cancels, days cancels, hours cancels, minutes cancels. If all the units cancel correctly, I've probably set this up correctly, assuming each of these pieces is the correct ratio between those 2 units. So I'm going to take and multiply by everything on the top. So 16 times 365 times 24 times 60 times 60. When I do that, I get the number 504576000 seconds. I'd probably write this in scientific notation. Rounding to the same number of digits that I started with, we'll learn why we do this at a later, sorry, made a mistake there. 5.0 times 10 to the 8th seconds. We'll learn why this is the correct answer with only 2 digits here later in the course, so I would accept this answer at this point. So we're converting using any conversion factors we need. In this case, we use 4 conversion factors to go from years to seconds. Let's look at example number 2. Take a second when we're going to do example number 2 and pause the video, but let me give you one more piece of information before you pause the video. Currently, the one thing you need to know here, gold is $58.69 for 1 gram. So the current price of gold, $58.69 per gram. You could look that up on the internet if you wanted to find a more recent value. So what I would do, pause this problem, try it yourself, and then press play and see the way that I go through solving it. Okay, a lucky student stumbles across a gold nugget weighing 500 grams. If the student cashes this gold nugget in for its value, how many songs can she download from iTunes at 99 cents each? Or $0.99. So we're looking for the number of songs is the data we're trying to solve for. We're starting with 500 grams. So the first conversion factor I want to do is get to dollars. So from grams to dollars, in this case, 1 gram is $58.69. Then 1 song is $0.99. So we cancel grams, we cancel dollars, we end up at songs. So to do this in your calculator, 500 times 58.69 and then divided by 0.99. When we do that, we get 29,641 songs. So this person gets a gold nugget, 500 gram, half kilogram gold nugget, would have enough money to buy almost 30,000 songs on iTunes at the 99-cent price. The next video after this, we'll look at how we do this with units that are more complicated that have multiple dimensions.